Hi, this is Brent with Studio One Expert, and in this second video of this 4-part series using the RS124 from Abbey Road and Waves, I'm going to show you how we can use this on the snare tracks. So let's get straight into it and have a listen to the snare with the RS124 bypass to begin with. Okay, and let's engage the plugin and start messing with it and seeing what sort of sound we can get from it. So we're getting about 15 dB of reduction now in the compression circuit. It's been a big jump in gain, so let's back off the output attenuator. And as we learned from the last video, the Studio does have a faster attack time. So the transient there is getting squashed quite a bit. And in Cutter we retain a lot of that transient. What we can do though, if we want the more squash sound of the Studio, is click the expand down here. And just dial back the mix so we have a dry wet blend of the unprocessed and processed signal. And let's do a little before and after. So we're definitely getting more body and weight and definitely more sustain on the snare. If you have a listen to the before and after, it's quite clear. Okay, great. Now let's just try the SuperFuse on here, because this is another great way to add more weight and saturation to it without having to pull up another plugin. And the whole idea with this series is we just want to use the RS124 on everything. So we're using this on every single drum channel for the EQ, the saturation, and mainly the compression, but we're just showing what you can get out of this compressor. So let's engage the SuperFuse, and again, we'll probably have to use a lot of the dry wet mix blend here. So at full wet, we seem to totally have a different sound now, like it's like a totally different snare sample. Very flat there. And let's hear it in context. So for me, in context, I can hear the snare wires too much on the bottom. Let's see if it's SuperFuse that's doing that. Yeah, so it is bringing out a lot of those snare wires. Let's try dialing back the mix. And let's go back to the cutter mode. And back off the output. And finally, let's Abbey. So I think what we're starting to find here is that on the individual channels, I prefer to use the cutter circuit because it means that we retain the transient, which is super important for these different instrument categories on the drum kit. And then I think the Studio and the SuperFuse in particular is going to be most useful on the overheads and the rooms. So let's figure out if that's what we want to do in part 3 and 4 of this series.